Fight! Oh. What's up, nerds? Adam Ronan here for a Mortal Kombat video. What? Oh my god. Fighting games? Oh, you better believe it. Because as a lot of you know, Mortal Kombat is my absolute most favorite franchise of all time. And this is even above some of my more deep-hearted obsessions like Super Mario Bros. And Zelda. Mortal Kombat trumps them all. So now, as we start to ramp up to the announcement and the eventual release of Mortal Kombat 11, I thought now is a perfect time to begin a Ronin 24 version of Journey to Mortal Kombat 11, the next game. So this is going to be a little bit different than other channels that are doing this because we do not have an attachment to competitive play per se. This will be more involved in the lore and the storylines and the characters of Mortal Kombat, because that's what I'm mostly passionate about, rather than like how Sonic Fox is just going to beat the shit out of everybody. So that's what this is going to be. This is going to be my hype and my excitement leading up to the release of Mortal Kombat 11, whatever that is. And the first thing to get excited about is we're just a few very short weeks away from what I predict is going to be the announcement of Mortal Kombat 11. Now typically in NRS fashion this always happens about a week before E3, so judging from past and what's happening now, we can expect this to happen at the very tail end of May or in the first week of June. Will be the announcement trailer, then first gameplay will be seen at E3. It's gonna happen. That's just how it's gonna be. Ed Boon is a predictable man when it comes to these types of things. So, for today's first video, we're going to dig in my roster predictions. Who I think is gonna be in the cast, who I want to be on the cast, and go from there. And then every Fight Game Friday that these come out, it'll be a little different subject. We'll talk about then gameplay features, I think, in another week, different stuff like that. So, let's just start yapping and dig right in, because boy, I have a feeling this video is gonna be a flawless victory. Fatality. Okay, let's start out with what's most important in an MK game, and that's the goddamn roster. And this is going to be a good start. So let's start with what I think are some absolute guarantees and shoo-ins for returning characters. The obvious ones are Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Stated by the man himself, there will never be an MK game without the duo of mascots at the helm, which works out well for me since they are two of my favorite characters in the entire lore. Next up is our friendly neighborhood Thunder God Raiden. Given the implications of his next moves story-wise that were at the end of MKX, it's all but guaranteed we will see our conical hat favorite return. But will he be friend or foe? Ooh. Liu Kang and Kitana are guaranteed to be in as well. I think they will play heavily into this story given where they ended up in MKX being the rulers of the Netherrealm. It was a fun angle for their characters, and NRS will almost be guaranteed to continue this in MK11, possibly even as top-level end boss characters. Now, for the cadre of offspring, I believe heavily that Cassie, Jackie, Kungjin, and Takeda will once again be the forefront of protagonists in MK11. There was such a heavy emphasis of the passing of the torch to these characters in MKX, I just simply don't see NRS giving up on them just yet. Plus, I think the potential is brimming for them as characters if we can just fine-tune them a little bit and make them a little bit more original. After all, Kungjin was my main in MKX, pretty much to my very own surprise, so I'd be remiss to say I wouldn't want to see him back, kicking ass and green arrowing his way all the way to victory.
Let's rub some dirt in.
If fan backlash were to be any sort of indicator of how the roster could be shaped, I think we'll absolutely be seeing Rain making his return to the cast. He played a pretty decent role to the MKX storyline early on in the game, and had a fully rendered character model and moveset, and people were pretty livid that he never made his return into a combat pack. Much like Fujin and a couple others on our list, I expect to see the Edenian Prince make his beautiful return. I also think we will absolutely see the return of notables Bihan, aka Noob Saibot, and the treacherous sorcerer Shang Tsung. There was too much of a fan outcry at Noob's omission in MKX for them to leave him out of this game, I think. He wasn't exactly killed in MK9, not that it ever fucking matters anyway in MK, but regardless, I expect to see him again. Same for Shang Tsung. MK9 death aside, that sneaky sorcerer is always up to something no good, and I expect to see him up to some of his old tricks, especially if some of the endings in MKX are to prove canon. want some risky additions. It should go without saying that I think it's high time we see Fujin make his goddamn reappearance that he ever so got fucked on in the last couple of games. I mean, come on, Ed Boon. What's your beef with the Fuge? Especially now that Raiden has seemingly become a prick. It's perfect timing for Earthrealm to gain a new friendly god on their side that hasn't gone completely batshit. So, my next pick for this is Fujin. Something that also makes me a bit sad to see NRS actively steering clear of is the 3D era characters. Now, while I agree a bunch of them were complete hot garbage, there were some standouts in the bunch. And with Bo Raicho being added into MKX, I think we could expect to see the beloved Li Mei make a return to the series after a long absence. I've always thought the character had potential to be great, and I would love to see what they do with her, but admittedly, I would love to see characters like Ashura and Hotaru come back as a surprise instead. I feel like they had greatness within them that was never truly realized. Yes. Now, this idea here is going to be an unpopular opinion, but since we're in the subject of 3D era characters, I would truly enjoy to see Shujinko return back into the fold as a more unique, fleshed out character. I think there is enormous potential in the characteristics of Shujinko, especially with his appearance of an old kung fu master reminiscent of the old Shaw films. I think he could be successfully retconned into something amazing. Would work out great, especially if they're going to touch on any of the deception story elements. Okay, let's talk big guys. It is now NRS tradition to have a large pre-order bonus character. Goro was the pre-order bonus in MKX and Darkseid in Injustice 2, and I think this is going to hold true in MK11 as well. My money is that we will see Shao Kahn return in MK11 as a pre-order bonus. In fact, the epic thrashing around that my boner would endure would be uncontainable if this were to ring true. Shao Kahn deserves a real shot on the roster, as despite his appearance on the GameCube version of MK Deception and his appearance in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Kahn has never really been fleshed out to be truly worthwhile playable character. His time is now. Or is it? I think another strong contender for the pre-order bonus spot is the Dragon King himself, Onaga. Now, while I think MK11 will be a more diverse standalone story, I am of the school of thought that this may still borrow some story beats from MK Deception. Somehow, I think that NRS will be foolish not to. MK Deception, in my opinion, is one of the better storylines in the MK history that was truly embellished upon in the absolutely wonderful Conquest mode. I think it would be shameful to skip over this in the new timeline, and I don't foresee that they will, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Onaga play a role in this game somehow. What better spot for this bad motherfucker than in the pre-order bonus spot that holds big bad motherfuckers? Alright, so the final thing we'll talk about here, what about guest characters? Now, this is a matter right now of what I want to see versus what we will see, because what I want is absolutely fucking no one at all. While I understand the notion of guest characters and what they truly bring to the table, the fanboy in me is always mentally stabbed to death at the wasted slot that could go to a roster pick that I love dearly. But alas, guest characters sell DLC downloads, and this won't change here. I think, just like everyone else though, we're going to see more R-rated characters. You can bet your bottom dollar that we're going to see Spawn is going to be one of them. All signs point to yes on his inclusion. I also wouldn't be surprised to see Michael Myers, as he's the only one left of the big three slashers left to not see the combat arena, though I wouldn't mind some Pinhead action if we're going to go the horror route. But alternatively, I would love to see guest characters from other genres of film. Rikyo, for example, embodies the spirit of martial arts and overtop gore that Mortal Kombat is known for, and I would be all for it if we saw some risky additions like him in the guest character selection. Alright guys, well thank you for watching. That is our first episode on a Fight Game Friday where we're digging in to Ronin 24's journey to Mortal Kombat 11. And I leave you with this. Which motherfucker should I knock off of this bridge? You know what I'm saying? Whoa! Deuces,